Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I hope you are doing well. My name is Muhammad Haider and I am going to explain you the topic nano fertilizers. Let we discuss what is nano fertilizers. The table of contents include abstract, general overview of fertilizers, overview of nanotechnology, introduction of nanofertilizers, scope and importance of nanofertilizers, nanofertilizers and regular fertilizer difference, detail of different types of fertilizers, sustainable nanofertilizer and crop concept, herbicides and pesticides, pesticides and nanofertilizers, recent developments in designing nanofertilizer, recent studies on nanofertilizer applications, impact of nanofertilizer on water uses, drip irrigation system, nanofertilizer and water reduction, and the last one is future perspectives. Let we discuss general overview of fertilizer first. What are fertilizers? Fertilizers are natural or artificial substances containing these chemical elements that improve growth and productiveness of plants. Fertilizers may be man-made or may be natural. That includes that have a role or importance to improve the growth and development of plant are called fertilizers. They enhance the soil fertility or replace chemical elements taken from the soil by previous crops. Soil fertility. What is soil fertility? Soil fertility is the quality of a soil that enables it to develop that enables it to develop to provide compounds in adequate amounts and proper balance to promote growth of plants when other factors such as moisture, temperature and soil structures are favorable. When fertility of the soil is not good, natural or manufactured materials may be added to the supply needed plant nutrients. These are called fertilizers. Soil fertility improved by the fertilizers. So the fertilizers are the substances that improve the growth, enhance the soil fertility of the soil, and develop the plants. Essential plant nutrients. What are essential plant nutrients? As you know, the nutrients required by the plant to for their growth, for their development, and for their fertility of the soil. So the nutrients include are the 16 elements. The nutrients include hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, potassium, calcium, and magnesium. Plants obtain carbon from the atmosphere and hydrogen and oxygen from water. Other nutrients are taken up from the soil. Although plants contain sodium, iodine, and cobalt, these are apparently not essential. These are also true of silicon and aluminium. These are also the non-essential nutrients, but their role is to develop and improve the growth of the plants. Overall chemical analysis indicate that the total supply of nutrients in soil is really high in comparison with the requirements of crop plants. Much of this potential supply is bound tightly in forms that are not released to crops fast enough to give satisfactory growth. So the fertilizers added in the soil to improve its fertility and improve the plant growth to give a satisfactory growth, satisfactory result by fertilizers. The next, why we need, why the plants need nutrients. Basically, the nutrients improves the growth of the plant as human also require nutrients that are micro, macro, asectro. Determination of crops nutrients needs is an essential aspect of fertilizer technology. The appearance of a growing crop may indicate a need for fertilizer. In some plants, the need for more or different nutrients may not be easily observable. If such a problem exists, its nature must be diagnosed. The degree of deficiency must be determined. and the amount and kind of fertilizer needed for a given yield must be found. There is no substitute for detailed examination of plants and soil conditions in the field, followed by the simple fertilizers test, quick test of plant tissues, and analysis of soils and plants. Next point is synthetic fertilizers. Synthetic fertilizers, as the names show, the synthetic fertilizers are man-made fertilizers. They cannot exist naturally. Modern chemical fertilizers include one or more of the three elements that are most important in plant growth, plant nutrition. These three elements are nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. These are the primary nutrients. Primary fertilizers. These are the primary fertilizers. Of secondary importance, the secondary fertilizers are sulfur, magnesium, and calcium. The picture shows ammonia and nitric acid combined to give ammonium nitrate, which is the synthetic fertilizer made from the ammonia and the nitric acid. The formula of ammonium nitrate NH4NO3. Most nitrogen fertilizers are obtained from synthetic ammonia. Synthetic ammonia are used as a gas, and it is used in a water solution, or it is converted into a salt such as ammonium sulfate, ammonium nitrate, and ammonium phosphate. But their packing house waste, treated garbage, sewage, and manure are also common sources of it. The sources of nitrogen, nitrogen uh, is about 78% in our atmosphere. The packing house waste, treated garbage, and sewage manure of the nitrogen are also common sources of ammonia. Also the common sources of ammonium nitrate, because its nitrogen content is high and is readily converted to ammonia in the soil. Urea is one of the most concentrated nitrogenous fertilizer. The other point is urea is one of the most concentrated nitrogenous fertilizers and inexpensive compound. It is incorporated in mixed fertilizers as well as being applied alone to the soil or sprayed in the foliage. With formaldehyde, ACHO, it gives methylene urea fertilizers. The formaldehyde, the aldehyde, which is formaldehyde, is it gives methylene urea fertilizers, which release nitrogen slowly, continuously, and uniformly, a full air supply being applied at one time. Next one is phosphorus fertilizer. Include calcium phosphate derived from phosphate rock or bones. The more soluble superphosphate and triple superphosphate preparations are obtained by the treatment of calcium phosphate with sulfuric and phosphoric acid respectively. Potassium fertilizers, namely potassium chloride and potassium sulfate, are mined from potash deposits. After phosphorus fertilizers, the next point is potassium fertilizers. The potassium fertilizer includes potassium chloride, KCl, and potassium sulfate, K2SO4, are mined from potash deposits. Of commercially produced potassium compounds, almost 95% of them are used in agriculture as a fertilizers. Mixed fertilizers contain more than one of the three major nutrients: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, as discussed above. Fertilizer grade is a conventional expression that indicates the percentage of plant nutrients in a fertilizer. Thus, 10 to 20, 20 to 10 grade contains 10% nitrogen, 20% phosphoric oxide, and 10% potash. After these fertilizers, the next fertilizer is organic fertilizers. The above mentioned fertilizers are named as mineral fertilizers. Next point is organic fertilizers. The use of manure and compost as fertilizers is probably almost as old as agriculture. The old method of agriculture fertilizers includes manure and compost used in agriculture crop. Many traditional farming systems still rely on these sustainable fertilizers, and their use is vital to the productivity of certified organic farms in which synthetic fertilizers are not permitted. Farm manure. Among sources of organic matter and plant nutrients, farm manure has been of major importance. Manure is understood to mean the refuse from stables and barnyards, including both excreta and straw or other bedding material. We got manure from bedding material. Large amounts of manure are produced by livestock. Such manure has value in maintaining and improving soil because of the plant nutrients, humus, and organic substances contained in it. The point said, manure consists of plant nutrients, which may be nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen, and humus and organic substances contained in it. Manure is fertilizer, approximately 0.5 to 0.25 and 0.25 to 0.5 percentages of nitrogen, phosphoric oxide, and potash, with at least two-thirds of the nitrogen in slow acting forms. Given that these fertilizers are mostly in an unmineralized form that cannot be taken up by plants, soil microbes are needed to break down organic matter and transfer nutrients into bioavailable mineralized state. In comparison, synthetic fertilizers are already in mineralized form and can be taken up by plants directly as compared to natural fertilizers. Natural fertilizers are not already in mineralized form. They perform many, we have to perform many operations to make natural fertilizers in a mineralized form, whereas on the other hand, synthetic fertilizers are already in mineralized form and can be taken by plants directly. These are called the primary fertilizers, whereas natural fertilizers are not primary fertilizers, these are the secondary fertilizers. On properly tilled soils, the returns from synthetic fertilizer usually will be greater than from an equivalent amounts of the manure. Next one is green manuring. This is the picture of the manuring, green manuring. In reasonably humid areas, the practices of green manuring can improve yield and soil qualities. A green manure crop is grown and plowed under for its beneficial effects. Although during its growth it may be grazed. These green manure crops are usually annuals. They are not monthly. They produce and they are grown annually, either grasses or legumes whose roots bear nodule bacteria capable of fixing atmospheric nitrogen. Among the advantages of green manuring includes addition of nitrogen to the soil. First, we add nitrogen to the soil, an increase in general fertility of the soil, a reduction of erosion escaping of the molecules through a tiny hole, an improvement of physical condition, and a reduction of nutrient loss from leaching. These are the advantages of the green manure. The disadvantages of the green manure includes the possibility that the cost of growing manure crop may exceed the cost of applying commercial nitrogen. Possible increases in disease, insect pest, and nematodes. Nematodes are the parasitic worms, and possible exhaustion of soil moisture by the crop. Next point is compost. Compost is usually in agriculture and gardening, primarily as a soil amendment rather than as fertilizer because it has a low content of plant nutrients. So it is not used as a fertilizer. It may be incorporated into the soil or mulched on the surface. Heavy rates of applications are common. Compost is basically a mass of rotted organic matter made from waste plant residues. Addition of nitrogen during decomposition is usually advisable. The result is a crumbly material that, when added to soil, does not compete with the crop for nitrogen. When properly prepared, it is free of obnoxious odors Compost commonly contained about 2% nitrogen is in compost, 0.1 to 1% phosphorus and 2% potassium. The nitrogen of compost becomes available slowly and never approaches that available from inorganic sources. Next, we move to the nanotechnology, which is our basic topic. General overview of nanotechnology. Nanotechnology refers to the branch of science and engineering devoted to designing, producing, and using structured devices and systems by manipulating atoms and molecules at nanoscale. Nanotechnology is defined as the branch of this science in which we examine the material, examine the substances consist of atoms and molecules at nanoscale, having one or more dimensions of the order of 100 nanometers. 100 billionth of millimeter is 100 nanometer. 1 nanometer is equal to 100 billionth part of the millimeter. In the natural world, there are many examples of structures with one or more nanometer dimensions. 1 nanometer is equal to 10 raised to power minus 9 meter. The example includes human hair, which consists of 50 to 70 micrometer in diameter. Our hair grows at the rate of 1 millimeter per day. So this is the picture of the human hair, and this is possible due to the nanotechnology. Study and examine the substances at nanoscales. The particulate matter consists of combustion particles, organic compounds, metals, etc. And the particulate matter in our human hair is 2.5 micrometer in diameter. And many of the applications of nanotechnology involve new materials that have very different properties and new effects compared to the some materials made at larger sizes. This is due to the very high surface to volume ratio of nanoparticles compared to large particles, and to effects that appear at that small scale but are not observed at larger scales. So the nanotechnology, which is the applications of nanotechnology can be very beneficial and have the potential to make a significant impact on society Nanotechnology has already been embraced by industrial sectors such as information and communication sectors, but is also used in food technology, energy technology, as well as in some medical products and medicines. Nanomaterials may also offer new opportunities for the reduction of environmental pollution. Humans have developed mechanisms of protection against various environmental agents of different sizes. However, until recently, they had never been exposed to synthetic nanoparticles and their specific characteristics. Therefore, the normal human defense mechanism. So, nanofertilizer and regular fertilizer difference. The nanofertilizers are man-made fertilizers, whereas conventional fertilizers or regular fertilizers may be a man-made fertilizer, which are synthetic fertilizers or naturally fertilizers. The loss rate of conventional fertilizer is high, whereas loss rate of nanofertilizer is very low. The loss rate includes drifting, leaching, runoff. The controlled release factor of conventional fertilizer is very high, whereas rate of release and release pattern of nano fertilizer is very low. The solubility of conventional fertilizer is low, whereas nano fertilizer is high. Bioavailability of regular fertilizer is low, whereas that of nano fertilizer is high. Dispersion of mineral micronutrients, lower solubility due to larger size particle, whereas nano fertilizer improve dispersion of insoluble nutrients. Effective duration of release used by the plant at the site and time of application, effective and extended duration. The duration of conventional fertilizer is very short, whereas that of nano fertilizer is effective and extended and is very long. The efficiency of nutrients uptake, which is the index of both conventional fertilizer and nano fertilizer, is the conventional fertilizer is not available to roots and the efficiency of nutrients uptake is low, whereas nano fertilizers have safe fertilizer resources. Soil absorption and fixation of conventional fertilizer is very high, whereas that of nano fertilizer is very low. Whereas that of nano fertilizer is very low. Bio and nano fertilizers are one of the most important tools in modern agriculture and agri-food, as well as a driving economic force in the near future. Also, bio and nano fertilizers also play an important role as promising methods for increasing use efficiency of different water and land resources, reducing environmental pollutions as well. So, environment friendly biotechnological approaches may offer alternatives to chemical fertilizers. Phosphorus, potassium, and zinc solubilizer microbes are the most important microbial traits in soil biogeochemical cycles and plant growth promotion. The biosynthesis of nanomaterials using bacteria, algae, yeast, fungi, actinomycetes, and plants has led to a new area of research for the formation of inorganic nanoparticles as eco-friendly fertilizers. Potassium, zinc, and phosphorus are eco-friendly fertilizers. Now, use of nanofertilizer in plant nutrition is one of the major role of nanotechnology in agriculture and soil sciences. Thus, the application of biosynthesized nanoparticles in agriculture sector may lead to sustainable development. What do you mean by sustainability? Sustainability is uh, to meet our own needs without damage the needs of your future generation. Meeting our own needs without compromising the needs of your future generation is said to be sustainability. So the biosynthesis of nanomaterials, bacteria, algae, yeast, fungi are eco-friendly fertilizers. Hence, this leads to sustainable agriculture through putting less inputs and generating less waste, minimizing nutrient losses and release nutrients at a proper rate for plant demand comparing with conventional farming. There is very slight difference between bio and nano fertilizer depending on their mechanism in the soil and plant, application methods, effective rates of addition, as well as their impact on the environment. However, both nano and bio fertilizer and their interaction are needed further studies. Therefore, this study will focus on the new insights and a comparison between both nano and bio fertilizers. Biofertilizers could be also called as microbial cultures, bioinoculants, bacterial inoculants, or bacterial fertilizers. These biofertilizers also could be include N2 fixing biofertilizers, P solubilizing biofertilizers, P mobilizing biofertilizers, biofertilizers for micro beneficial nutrients and plant growth promoting rhizobacteria, P's in soluble biofertilizer and in mobilizing fertilizers is of phosphorus derivatives. The common features could be extracted from these definitions include biofertilizer and microbial inoculants or formulation of beneficial microorganisms. They could enhance the plant growth and conserve the mobilizing crop nutrients in the soils. So the biofertilizers reduces the chances for environmental deterioration. Therefore, these fertilizers, biofertilizers contain latent or living cells of proficient strains of some microbes by which assist crop plants to take nutrients and then accelerate several microbial processes. These microbial processes may help plants to increase the uptake efficiency of nutrient as well as to increase the availability of surface area and the immobilization process on carrier material. Next point is the biosynthesis of nanofertilizers and biological fertilizers. As you know, the definitions of nanofertilizers, the nanoparticles are atomic or molecular aggregates with at least one dimension properties compared between and lie between 1 and 100 nanometer. So the biosynthesis of the nanofertilizers and the biofertilizers is in order to synthesis of nanonutrients microorganisms was grown over selected nutrient source and provides necessary growth conditions. As you can see on the picture, first we add reducing agents on materials to produce biological or to reduce the biological reduction of these materials such as citric acids, acetic acids, crude enzymes, etc. These are the reducing agents added on the extract as we gained from the plants. First, first we take the extract in the beaker from the plants and then add reducing agents on these plants. Then we make biological reduction, then nucleation, accumulation process, solubilization and capping, and then boosting agent to make the nanofertilizer boosted in the boostage form. After the complete growth, the biomass was separated. The filtrate was used for isolation of extracellular specific proteins, and these were used for nanoparticle synthesis, the selection of microorganism, and optimum parameter or specific for synthesis for desired type of nanonutrients. Through catalytical effects, microbial extracellular secreting enzymes could produce reducing the metal salt of macro or micro scale into nanoscale diameter. Macro and micro scale studies are old studies, and the nano fertilizer is the recent study as in the history of as in the study of the materials and substances at the nanoscale. These nanoparticles get into the plant cells through either stomatal or vascular system, which may enhance plant cell metabolic activities that lead to higher crop production. It is suggested that the stomatal pathway is highly capacitive because of its larger size, exclusion limit, and its high transport velocity. Such biological synthesized, very tiny functional nanoparticles are economically cheap, relatively stable, easy downstream processing, and environmentally safe as they are encapsulated by fungal protein which is water soluble. In general, the synthesis of bio and nanofertilizer could be achieved using microorganisms. We have to use microorganisms for the synthesis of the nanofertilizer and the biofertilizer, where some nanofertilizer may result from the biological method. Furthermore, the synthesis of nanoparticles using biological system is in wide research due to the potential application in nanomedicine. The biological synthesis of nanoparticles is less expensive and eco-friendly. As mentioned before, the synthesis of nanoparticle could be mainly achieved through the physical, chemical, and biological methods. Concerning the biological method, it could be produced nanoparticles from reduction and oxidation processes. Reductions processes and oxidation processes from small entities using laser defects in vitro or vivo methods. Several substances mainly could be used as reducing and stabilizing agents during this synthesis process includes proteins, enzymes, sugars, phytochemicals such as phenolics, flavonoids, cofactors, terpenoids. These are the reducing agents as we add in the extract gained from the plants. The picture shows the nano biofertilizer consists of eco-safe perspectives and renewable fertilization, slow release of nutrients, improved nutrient use efficiency, microorganisms involved, biodegradable substances involved, price effective. Very effective and very expensive low quantity fertilizer requirement enhance crop yield and productivity as compared to the natural fertilizer or regular fertilizer ultimate help in promotion. So these are the nano biofertilizer which includes its basic material material which is called nano material. It is reported that some nanoparticles could be used in nanofertilization, which generated through the biosynthesis process in many studies. Therefore, it could be concluded that biosynthesis of nanofertilizers could be achieved through many microorganisms and plant extracts. Concerning the biological method for nanofertilizer biosynthesis, it could be produced nanoparticles biotech, through many biotech. The next difference between nano fertilizer and the conventional fertilizers include its solubility and dispersion of mineral micronutrients, nutrient uptake efficiency, controlled release index, effective duration of nutrient release, loss rate of the fertilizers. Our next point is the introduction of the nano fertilizer and nanotechnology. In 1960, Richard Feynman proposed the word nanotechnology. Nanotechnology is the branch of the science that includes the study of the techniques and manipulation of the material at the range of 1 to 100 nanometer. Nanoparticles exhibit different properties than the bulk materials. This is due to the high surface and volume ratio and the quantum phenomena that occurs in nanoscale, increasing the catalytic activity. The nanomaterials has been used in communication, defense, food, biotechnology, electrical, chemical, sports, and horticultural industry. In agriculture sector, the innovation and changes are around of hybrid varieties of crops, synthetic chemicals, and biotechnology related with the fields of food processing, packaging, safety, nutrition, pesticides, and nutraceuticals. In recent agriculture applications, environmentally friendly technology has been gaining importance as a substitute for traditional pesticides and fertilizers. Nanotechnology provides a viable alternative solution to overcome the drawbacks of conventional use of fertilizer in agriculture. Therefore, the use of nanoparticles is increasing tremendously in agriculture. So, the nanotechnology is provides a unique perspective on current advances in the design and composition of nanoparticles. What are nanofertilizers? Nanofertilizers are man-made fertilizers. These are called the synthetic fertilizers and are essential to reduce the use of inorganic fertilizer and reduce their antagonistic effects. The antagonistic effects means opposite effects on the environment as they are highly reactive, can penetrate the epidermis of the plant and enable slow release and dispersion, thus improving nutrient usage efficiency. They can also, when the nutrient efficiency of the plant is increased, then automatically the growth and development of the plant is increased, the soil fertility is increased by the nutrients, and the growth and the sustainable growth as a result you got from the plant. They can also help to alleviate heavy metal toxicity and abiotic stress. They can also help to alleviate heavy metal toxicity and abiotic stress. Contrarily, there are also reports on the toxic effects of nanoparticles in different plants due to their deposition on the cell surfaces and in organelles, inducing oxidative stress. So, the introduction of the nanotechnology and nanofertilizers. Nanotechnology is the branch of science that is used to study the substances and materials composed of the atoms and the molecules at the nanoscale, and its range is from 1 to 100 nanometer, whereas nanofertilizers can reduce the use of inorganic fertilizers and reduce their antagonistic effects on the environment. And these are the highly reactive, penetrate on the epidermis and enable slow release and dispersion, thus improving nutrient usage efficiency. A study reported that detrimental effects of nanoparticles. The effects of nanoparticles might be favorable or detrimental depending on the plant species, type of nanoparticles employed, and concentration. Copper oxide nanoparticles, mitochondrial electron transport system cycle triggering an oxidative burst due to an increase in reactive oxygen species, and the sustainability growth of the plant. Next, nanofertilizers can be composed of different nanoparticles, that is carbon-based, metal oxides, and other nanoporous materials, depending on their combination and compositional properties. They can be prepared biologically, chemically. Chemically method includes bottom-up approach, or physical method includes top-down approach. The top-down approach involves lithography, and the bottom-up approach involves the crystal system of the material. Another emerging technology that uses clean, non-hazardous, and is especially environmentally friendly procedures such as green nanotechnology or biofabrication can also be employed to synthesize nanofertilizer as opposed to chemical and physical methods currently used to make nano products. The next points, let you see the figure. The senses of nanofertilizers include physical, chemical, and biological means as discussed above. And the benefits of the nanofertilizer includes crop improvement, crop protection, crop yield growth, precious farming, stress tolerance, soil enhancement, and reduce the reactive nitrogen loss by 58.8%. Scope and importance of nanofertilizers. What are the scope and importance of nanofertilizer? In modern agriculture, nanofertilizers are important due to their unique formation, characteristics, and delivery mechanism with optimum phytoavailability. This small size of nanofertilizers with a high surface mass ratio enables an increase in the absorption of nutrients via plant roots. Moreover, they can also be absorbed with different dynamics relative to their bulk particles or ionic salts and have significant benefits. These nanoscale fertilizers lower nutrient loss due to leaching, avoid chemical modifications, and help to improve nutrient use, efficiency, and environment quality. Different types of fertilizers is your next point. The different types of fertilizers includes plants need nutrients to grow, which they absorb from the soil. The plant roots system fertilizer provide the major nutrients, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and important secondary elements that plants needs. Unless the nutrients are replenished, the soil's productive capacity declines with every harvest. So the mineral first point is your mineral fertilizers, the fertilizer which are made from the process called mineralization. We got the organic substances, humus, the waste of the animal, and the crop residues are decomposed to minerals by the process called mineralization. And the next, calcium, magnesium, sulfur, nitrogen, potassium, calcium nutrients is addition to the harvest plant, and these are essential for the growth and development of the plant. The next point is mineral fertilizers. The European fertilizer industry transforms millions of tons of naturally occurring raw materials such as air, natural gas, and mined ores into high quality plant nutrition products. Next one is nitrogen fertilizer. Nitrogen based fertilizers are the most commonly used straight fertilizer in Europe. The nitrogen fertilizer includes ammonium nitrate, calcium ammonium nitrate, which are well suited to most European soils and climatic conditions, and urea ammonium nitrate aqueous solution, which are widely used in other parts of the world. So the fertilizers of nitrogen includes ammonium nitrate, calcium ammonium nitrate, and the last one is urea ammonium nitrate. The second one is nitrogen fertilizer with inhibitors. Certain weather and soil conditions can lead to nitrogen immobilization, then denitrification, volatilization, or leaching, all reducing fertilizer efficiency. In response, the industry has developed special types of fertilizers designed to reduce these effects. They include foliar slow and controlled release fertilizers, as well as fertilizer additives such as urease and nitrification inhibitors. Next one is phosphorus fertilizer. The phosphorus fertilizer includes single superphosphate, triple superphosphate, monoammonium phosphate, diammonium phosphate, and ammonium polyphosphate liquid. Potassium fertilizers includes potassium chloride, potassium sulfate K2SO4, and potash, that is SOP, and the last one is potassium nitrate KNO3. Next one is calcium, magnesium, and sulfur fertilizers. Calcium, magnesium, and sulfur are essentially secondary plant nutrients. They are not usually applied as straight fertilizers, but in combination with the primary nutrients nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Sulfur is often added to straight nitrogen fertilizers such as ammonium nitrate or urea. Other sulfur sources are superphosphate, potassium sulfate, and potassium magnesium sulfate kenite, the latter also containing magnesium. Castrite is a magnesium sulfate mineral that is mined and also used as a fertilizer in agriculture, mainly to correct magnesium deficiency. Calcium is mainly applied as calcium nitrate, gypsum, calcium sulfate, or lime, dolomite, calcium carbonate, of which calcium nitrate is the only readily plant available source of calcium. Next one, micronutrient fertilizers. The micronutrient fertilizers are large number of special fertilizers are available to supply plants with important micronutrients such as iron, Fe, manganese, boron, zinc, and copper. These can be either inorganic or organic compounds, with the inorganic varieties further divided into water soluble and non-soluble products. Inhibitors that retards the growth of the plant. These are two major types of nutrient inhibitors today available for farmers in the year. Nitrification inhibitors are chemical compounds that delay the nitrification of ammonia by suppressing the activity of nitrosomonas bacteria in the soil. Inhibitors that retards the bacteria growth in the soil. The objective is to preserve the ammonium in its soil-stable form and slow its conversion to nitrate. This temporarily reduces the proportion of nitrate in the soil and thus the potential for leaching losses into water or the formation of nitrogen oxide gas in the atmosphere. So the first one is the nitrification inhibitors. Next one is the urease inhibitors. These are the chemical compounds that delay the first step of the degradation of urea in the soil, the hydrolysis that can create ammonia emissions and which may occur before its transformation to ammonia. They contribute to reducing significantly ammonia emissions to the air, one of the major air pollutants. In the soil, the ammonia is the ammonia is reduced or increases its growth into the air, and the scientist makes the urease inhibitors that retards the growth of the bacteria, which is the ammonia, and the soil fertility is increased by these inhibitors. The next one is the organic fertilizers. Organic fertilizers are man-made fertilizers, and these are the synthetic fertilizers. Crop residues, animal manures, and slurries are the principal organic fertilizers. Although they have varying nutritional values, they are generally present on the farm, and the nutrients and the organic carbon they contain are recycled. Animal manures and slurries cover a wide range of nutrient sources with different physical properties and nutrient contents. Furthermore, their nutrient content vary regionally and depend on the type of livestock and the farm management system. As you see in the figure, types of organic fertilizer include cow dung manure, the cow manure, biocompost, leaf mold, wood ash, vermicompost, the compost consisting of small snacks that is called worms, and the feed. The next point is sustainable nano fertilizers and crop concept. What do you mean by sustainability? As discussed earlier, sustainability means meeting our needs, our own desires without compromising the needs of your future generation is called sustainability. Excessive use of synthetic fertilizer cause economic burdens, increasing soil, water, and atmospheric pollution. Nano fertilizers have shown great potential for their sustainable uses in soil fertility, crop production, and with minimum or no environmental trade-offs. Nanofertilizers of submicroscopic sizes have a large surface area to volume ratio, can have nutrient encapsulation and great mobility. Hence, they may increase plant nutrient access and crop yield. Due to these properties, nanofertilizers are regarded as deliverable smart system of nutrients. However, the problems in the agro-ecosystem are broader than exciting developments. For example, nutrient delivery in different physiochemical properties of soils, moisture, and other agroecological conditions is still a challenge. In this context, the present study provides an overview of various uses of nanotechnology in agriculture, preference of nanofertilizers over the conventional fertilizer, that is the regular fertilizers, nanoparticles formation, mobility, and role in heterogeneous soils of different composition soils, with specific emphasis on the development and use of chitosan-based nanofertilizers. The next you can see on the figure, nanofertilizers, the impure water capacity increases microbial activity. Nanofertilizer input, the fertility of the soil is increased and the plant growth and development also increases by the great demand of the nutrients. Nanofertilizer input into the soil. Plant productivity and health increased, microbial activity and the environmental quality improve nutrient uptake and improve water holding capacity. Food production by sustainable nano fertilizer. The demand for quality food is expected to increase with the rising population across the global. Fruits are a major source of nutraceuticals, yet nutrient depletion in soils is altering food cultivation, which is the natural process. Conventional fertilizers have raised food production after the Green Revolution, yet intensive agriculture has induced soil degradation and food contamination by pesticides. Conventional fertilizers are poorly efficient, and only about 20% or less of the applied fertilizer is used by the crop plant, the rest being mineralized or teached to groundwater and rivers, causing issues of cost, eutrophication, and human health. Alternatively, nanofertilizers appear promising because nanofertilizers display unique properties due to their physiochemical characteristics at the nanoscale. Here, the study includes applications of nanoparticles in fruit crops. Benefits include fruit productivity, fruit quality, shelf life through their positive effects on anatomically, morphologically, physiologically, physiochemical, and molecular traits. We also discuss the role of nanofertilizer in gene expression, regulation, and translocation for abiotic stresses. The next point is innovative fertilizers key to sustainability. Innovative fertilizers from enhanced nutrient uptake efficiency offer benefits in terms of reduction in environment footprints. Fertilizer industry has introduced enhanced efficiency fertilizers which are in the marketing only for highly subsidized Indian fertilizer market and innovative high-tech fertilizer which is economically affordable too can be real solution. Nanotechnology can be leveraged to develop agriculture intensification solutions which can increase food production per unit of inputs and resources. Nanofertilizers based on nanotechnology because of their size, advantage and controlled manufacturing process through chemical, physical and biological means have emerged as a viable option to fulfill this gap in conventional and innovative fertilizer market. Role of a nanofertilizer. Agriculture in the 21st century is facing manifold challenges for producing more food by addressing the problems of rapidly growing global population, unpredictable climate change, decreasing agriculture productivity, variable labor force, and increased urbanization. The use of efficiency of nutrients of traditional fertilizers is very low. It has been reported that around 40 to 70% of the nitrogen, 80 to 90% of phosphorus, and 50 to 90% of potassium content of applied fertilizers are lost in the environment and could not reach the plant, which caused significant economic losses. These problems seem to be intensified fiercely by 2050 when we have to feed the population of over 9 billion. Nanotechnology is a promising tool and has the potential to foster a new era of precise farming techniques and therefore may emerge as a possible solution for these problems by making nano fertilizers, which enhance the soil fertility and increases the nutrient need of the plant, which helps in the development and the growth of the plant. Nanotechnology may increase agriculture potential to harvest higher yields in an eco-friendly way, even in the challenging environments. The nanofertilizers release the nutrients in a controlled manner in response to the reaction to different signals such as heat, moisture, and other abiotic stress. Nanofertilizer may regulate the release of nutrients and deliver the correct quantity of nutrients required by the crops in suitable proportion and promote productivity. The next point is herbicides and pesticides. Use of chemical agents such as fertilizers and pesticides have significantly contributed to increase in land production and at the same time offered protection from harmful elements. Having said that, here we will deal with the topic of pesticide and herbicides, understand the topic and also we learn about some key difference between herbicide and pesticide. To start, pesticide is actually a broad area which covers many chemical agents that have been developed to control or destroy all types of unwanted substances which are normally called pests. Herbicides, on the other hand, is a type of pesticide which have been designed to kill certain types of pests such as weeds and other problematic plant species. So herbicide is used to kill the pesticides. While this is the primary difference, let us also look at some other differences between herbicides and pesticides. The differences involves herbicides are normally designed to kill or control specific type of pest, whereas pesticide is generally used to kill or repel pests of all types including insects and occasionally plants. Second difference includes herbicides come in two forms. First one is selective, second one is non-selective. Pesticide generally includes a lot of compounds like insecticides, herbicides, rodenticides, fungicides, multicides, nematicides, among guest others. And the third difference is herbicides are often used in industrial areas, railways, waste grounds, or in farms, whereas pesticides application almost all around all areas in the world. The fourth difference is herbicides are mainly designed for plants, whereas pesticides are designed to kill all types of unwanted elements like insects, rodents, fungus, etc. Nanopesticides and nano fertilizers. Pesticides are commonly used in agriculture to improve crop yield and efficiency. Urea is the most widely used fertilizer for crop production, which is an example of the persistent source of nitrate, nitrite, and urease that are contaminants in water, causing eutrophication, possessing environmental implications. So let we discussed commonly used nanoparticles in the agriculture. Commonly used nanoparticles in the agriculture are the silver nanoparticles, nanoaluminosilicates, titanium dioxide nanoparticles, carbon nanomaterials, polymeric nanoparticles. The role of the polymeric nanoparticle is the delivery of the agrochemicals, superior biocompatibility, and the targeted organisms. Where that of silver nanoparticles is the antimicrobial property enhance plant growth. Nanoaluminosilicates, an efficient pesticide, and the titanium dioxide nanoparticle disinfecting agent for water. Carbon nanomaterials such as graphene oxide, carbon dots, fluorines are used for improved seed germination. Whereas that of nanopesticides offer a way to both control delivery of pesticides and achieve greater effects with its lower chemical dose. The first type of nanopesticide can be foreseen in the form of active ingredient that are either manufactured nanomaterials such as metal nanoparticles, silver and copper. These are the nanopesticides, or metal oxide nanoparticles, zinc oxide, copper oxide, manganese dioxide, silicon dioxide, titanium dioxide. The synthesis and application of nanopesticides enhance efficiency and durability of a pesticide, and at the same time to reduce the amount of active ingredients present and minimize or eliminate any potential hazards. The next point is bulk fertilizers. Bulk fertilizers combination of the nano fertilizers to make a bulk fertilizers, which promotes plant growth and productivity. As same as the nanofertilizers may influence metabolic activities of the plant, have the potential to mobilize native nutrients. Whereas that of nanofertilizer allow to release of nutrient into the soil gradually and in a controlled way, improve crop yield and quality, higher nutrient use efficiency and the agriculture sustainability. So the nanofertilizer as compared to the bulk fertilizer is more useful. The next point is the impact of nanopesticides and nanofertilizers on the environment. The recent normative documents recommended that the presence of nanoparticles could be detected in a number of controlled objects: atmospheric air, water objects, soils, hydrobuents, algae, fungi, tissues of land plants, tissues of land animals. Until now, however, the potential negative impacts of nanoparticles on human health have been rather uncorroborated. One of the key drivers for the application of nanotechnology is a reduction in the amount of the pesticide needed to assure crop production, which may be achieved by several ways, such as by improved apparent solubility, controlled release, and targeted molecules. Nanoformulation can allow a better targeting of the pest. Nanoformulations can protect from the various degradation processing, including photolysis, hydrolysis, or degradation in the soil. Recent developments in designing nanofertilizers. Design and formulation of the nanofertilizers. The usage of nutrient rich nanoparticles is a key component of the nanoscale fertilizer technique. The two techniques involves top-down, which is physical, and bottom-up, which is chemical, can both be used to synthesize the nanomaterials. These two approaches can be further categorized in three methods, including physical, chemical, and biological. The chemical synthesis of nanoparticles is the focus of the bottom-up strategies, whereas the physical synthesis falls under the top-down approach and biosynthesis. Nanoparticles have been produced and applied as nanofertilizers in several studies. Basic materials such as zeolites, copper, silver, aluminium, potassium, carbon, nitrogen, zinc, silica, magnesium, iron, sodium, manganese, and calcium. These are the 16 elements which are used for the growth and development of the plant, can be non-structured and used as nano fertilizer. Some other plant-based materials such as grape plant substrates and banana peels are used in the synthesis of nano fertilizers. Natural zeolite, which is made up of more than 50 minerals, has recently been converted into nano fertilizers due to its extensive availability and low price. Nanoparticles could be customized or designed to treat specific nutrient in plants. This is possible because atoms on the surface are allowed to attain desirable properties. So the points includes in the designation design of the nanofertilizers is absorption of nanoparticles, attachment of nanoparticles, third one is entrapment of polymeric nanoparticles, and the last one is encapsulation in nanoparticulate. First, the design of the nanoparticles include nanofertilizer science, nanoparticles. Physical, chemical, biological. Physical, top-down approach, chemical, bottom-up approach, biological, green synthesis. Next one is design and formulation of nanofertilizers includes four steps: absorption on nanoparticles, attachment on nanoparticles, entrapment of polymeric nanoparticles, and last one is encapsulation in nanoparticles. First one is absorption in nanoparticles. Nanoparticle, the material absorbed in the nanoparticles, then it combined strictly to the nanoparticles, and the third one is the smallest particles combined to form a polymeric nanoparticles, which is entrapped into the nanoparticles material, and the last one is encapsulation into the nanoparticulate. Next one is the target delivery action, which consists of two steps: in vitro methods and in vivo methods. In vitro methods includes hydroponics, and the vivoponics includes foliar application and the soil application, which is the modes of the applications. The characteristics of nanofertilizers include small particle size, high surface area, high productivity, targeted delivery, minimum losses, high reactivity, and high nutrient uptake efficiency. You can see on the picture. So the nanofertilizers characteristics you can see, and also the characteristics involves the size from larger to smaller, then smaller to nano. The next one is the composition, which includes hydrophilicity and hydrophobicity. Third one is the charge, which is positive, negative to no charge, and the fourth one is shape from circular, rectangular to the triangular, and the fourth one is the surface, which is spherical, parallel, and other one. The functionalization of the surface is peptide, antibodies, and polymers. Controlled release target delivery. Nanofertilizers have the ability to foster sustainable agriculture and improve overall agriculture yield, primarily by enhancing the nutrient use efficiency of both the fields and greenhouse crops. When used alone or in conjugation with organic or synthetic fertilizers, nanofertilizer can release nutrients at a slow and constant rate. They can release nutrients in 40 to 50 days compared to 40 to 10 days for synthetic fertilizer. As a result, after field application, chemically synthetic urea fertilizer quickly lost more than 70% of nitrogen content due to volatilization. So recently, nitrogen was synthesized in the form of nanofertilizer by encapsulating urea with hydroxyapatite nanoparticles. The modes of application involves in vitro methods, which includes aeroponics and hydroponics are both soilless without soil methods. In aeroponic method, the plant roots are suspended in the air and the nutritional solution is continuously separate in the form of mist, which is the fog. The entire environment near the roots can easily be controlled in this way. However, this process is not widely used as it demands significant amounts of nutrients for sustainable rapid growth. On the other hand, hydroponics, also known as the solution culture method, involves naturally soluble inorganic salts. The roots of the plants are immersed in a nutrient-rich solution by giving special attention to the pH, oxygen availability, and the volume of the solution. The next method involves in vitro methods. In vivo methods are further categorized into foliar application and soil application. In foliar application, micronutrients are supplied directly to the leaves by spraying liquid fertilizers. A positive point of this strategy is that it reduces the interval between fertilizer application and nutrient uptake by plants in their exponential development phase. In contrast to the method of the soil application, in which micronutrients such as iron, manganese, and copper are more soft on the soil particles, it also improves the uptake of these mentioned micronutrients as nutrient intake involves the cells of the leaf epidermis and stomata. Agronomic benefits might be observed when employed for nanofertilizer application as stomatal are involved, the time it takes for stomatal pores to open is considered. Nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus with combination of nanoparticles were studied for their foliar application. The application of nanochitosan and what is nanochitosan? Nanochitosan is the fertilizer consists of the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium on wheat produced significant results by enhancing the mobilization index, crop index, and harvest index. The nano The soil application or uptake of nano fertilizer at the root level are influenced by the various parameters such as nanoparticle, plant structure, rhizopheric activities, crop phenology, and the size of the nanoparticle. You can see the types of nanofertilizers, their formulation method and characteristics, their aim and purpose, mode of applications. First one is zinc oxide nanofertilizers, which is the formulation method is hydrothermal method, and the characteristics is hexagonal in shape with crystal size of 33 nanometer, and their aim is to investigate impact on maize, and the mode of application are soil and foliar. Next one is zinc oxide nanoparticles. The formulation method is wet chemical method, and the characteristics involves shape, undefined spherical shape with size of 2.4 to 3.7 nanometer, and the aim is to increase the yield of soybean and wheat with minimum fertilizer loss, soil and foliar. Next one is chitosan silicon nanofertilizer. Chitosan means the fertilizer consists of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. The formulation method is ionic gelation method, and the size is 360.5 to 1.34 nanometer to evaluate effect on yield, seedling growth, and the mode of application is foliar. Next one is urea doped calcium phosphate nanoparticles, sulfate supplemented nanoparticles, and last one is chitosan based nanoparticles. Drip irrigation system. Next point is drip irrigation system. Drip irrigation is the most efficient water and nutrient delivery system for growing crops. It delivers water and nutrients directly to the plant's root zone, which is the primary source, in the right amounts at the time at the right time, so each plant gets exactly what it needs when it needs it to grow optimally. It enables farmers to produce higher yields while saving on water as well as fertilizer energy. Water and nutrients are delivered across the field in pipes called drip lines, featuring small units known as drippers. Each dripper emits drops containing water and fertilizer, resulting in the uniform application of water and nutrients direct to the plant root zone across an entire field. The picture of the drip irrigation system, the water pump and the reservoir, which is connected to the switch that shows the time when the switch is on, the water pump out, the drop of water consists of uh, the drop consists of the water and the fertilizer which can enters in the roots of the plant and enhance the soil fertility, and which is from the fertilizers and increases the growth of the plant. Drip irrigation is an efficient and economical way and garden use is commonly used in dry areas of the country. Drip irrigation is becoming more popular in the northeast. Unlike other forms of irrigation such as sprinklers that are only 65 to 75% efficient, drip irrigation 90% efficient at allowing plants to use the water applied, and it reduces runoff and evaporation. Drip irrigation applies the water slowly at the plant root zone where it is needed most. Benefits of drip irrigation system. Drip irrigation involves placing tubing with emitters on the ground alongside the plants. The emitters slowly drip water into the soil at the root zone because moisture levels are kept at an optimal range. Plant productivity and quality improve. In addition, drip irrigation prevents diseases by minimizing water contact with leaves, stems, and fruit of plants. Second benefit is allows the rows between plants to remain dry, improving access and reduce weed growth. Third one is saves time, money, and water because the system is inefficient. Fourth one is decreases labor, and fifth one increases effectiveness on uneven ground. And the last one is reduces leaching of water and nutrients below the root zone. Drip irrigation system design and components. The main components of drip irrigation system includes the mainline, wall, submain, backflow preventer, pressure regulator, filter, tubing adapters, and fittings, drip tubing emitters and end caps. The main line is the pipe that runs from the water source, typically your outdoor to the wall, and the submain runs from the wall to the point where the drip tubing is connected. Generally, submains are used only when these are multiple lines of drip tubing and zones feeding of the same mainline water source. The combined length of the mainline and the sub-mainline is about 400 feet. The wall controls water flow into the system and can be set for either automatic or manually controlled. Backflow preventers are necessary to ensure that irrigation water does not flow back into the pipes and contaminate your main water source. Pressure regulators are needed if the water pressure is over 40 pounds per square. Tubing and fitters. Drip tubing is an polyethylene tube with emitters placed along the plants. The emitters release the water from drip tubing. Drip tubing and emitters come in various types and diameters depending on your needs. The length of the single diameter is about 200 feet from the point where water enters the tube. You will need to shake the tubing to keep it from moving. As a rule, don't bury the drip tubing and emitters even if they are designed to be. This helps to prevent clogging and rodent damage. Basic operation and maintenance. Drip irrigation can be set to run automatically, like sprinklers or controlled manually. Manual operation allows you to take advantage of rainfall before applying unnecessary water. Because small amounts of water are applied slowly, drip irrigation is designed to run daily unless it rains. How long to run the drip irrigation system will depend on how much water plants require per day and the ammeter's flow rate. Water is applied either once or twice a day. Early morning is the best time to water because there will be less evaporation. Watering in the evening increases plant disease. Check filters and emitters on a regular basis to ensure they are functionally properly and not clogged. To prevent winter damage, take up the drip irrigation system at the end of each gardening season. So the drip irrigation system includes wall, fitting lines, subline and main lines, tubing system and emitters, and the main source, which is connecting to the switch. The drip irrigation system consists of the wall, which is you can see on the picture the wall which is of yellow color, and the second one is backflow preventer that prevents that are responsible for not coming back water into the pipes, and the second one and the third one is the pressure regulator, and the fourth one is the filter, and fifth one is tubing adapter, and the sixth one is drip tubing, and emitters where the water emits from the pipes and entered into the plant source, and the last one is end cap. Nano fertilizer and water reduction. Increased water consumption worldwide has resulted in low quality water resources utilized for crop irrigation in the agriculture sector. However, these sources tend to be contaminated. New research published in the MDPI sustainability explores whether the addition of nano fertilizer can enhance these water sources. Sustainable production of tomato plants, Solanum lycopodium under low quality irrigation water as affected by bio nanofertilizer of selenium and copper. Harmful effects of conventional fertilizers. There are many harmful effects of the conventional fertilizer, which includes owing to the extensive utilization of mineral fertilizer and pesticides. Traditional fertilizers have produced several ecological threats, including food poisoning and soil deterioration. And the next one is excess nitrogen in the air and water from fertilizer can cause respiratory problems such as heart illness and many melanogenesis, as well as hinder agriculture development and boost hypoallergenic pollen output. Use of nano fertilizer are viable option. The use of the nano fertilizer are the viable option. Many studies have found advantages regarding the uses of nanofertilizer in agriculture plants such as hay, soy, potatoes, maize, and oats. Benefits include improved quality of the food production and storability, as well as reduced nutrient leakage into the soil following harvesting of crops. Iron, copper, selenium, and zinc are the most frequent minerals that are already used as nutrient-based nanofertilizer. So, nanofertilizer have many benefits. So, nano fertilizers is a viable option as use these fertilizers rather to use conventional fertilizer in your crops. Tomato plants Solanum lycopodium are regarded as one of the most important vegetable crops worldwide due to their great gastronomic and commercial importance in addition to their nutrient significance. As a result of their high oxide concentration, tomatoes are naturally strong in antioxidants and may defend against prostate cancer as well as protect human skin from UV radiations. Next point is future and perspectives of the use of nanomaterials and challenges. The perspectives of nanotechnology applied to horticulture are directed to the challenge. to seek new methods to create precision horticulture in order to create intelligent fertilizers. Delivery of fertilizers, biofertilizers, micronutrient supply, and nanoherbicide with the objective of improve the plant disease resistance, plant growth, and nutrition. Another effort is to develop and generate a better understanding of nanomaterials that can be applied in horticulture. However, the behavior of various nanomaterials varies differently for different plant species, and accurate information in the combined features in this context a viable basic platform for nanofertilizers in the upcoming smart agriculture system. Extensive research and improved census techniques and a variety of recommendation and inhabiting databases are potentially required for sustainable agriculture practices. The vigilant and research-based application of nanofertilizers must be examined in detail prior to the distribution or meeting of nanofertilizers. Future research should focus on the toxicity, bioavailability, and safety of various nanoparticles or nanofertilizers before their application in agriculture production. So we need to make sure that we are not repeating the same mistakes. So future studies should also check the environment risk associated with these nanofertilizers if there are any. These are the references. Thank you very much.